that big MAPerformance embroidery like right on the side of the downpipe. And then I have the Cobra intake from PRL, so you see that PRL intake piping too. It looks really, really clean under there. Next up on the list of good things about this downpipe is quite obviously the sound. Oh, and as I say that, we're at a stoplight. I was gonna downshift for you guys, but yeah, I'll give you guys a little bit once I get some room. Used to be. Man, it sounds good though. It's not raspy, it's not over the top, and a lot of that has to do with the catback I have. I have the HKS high power catback, so that really helps because that has the muffler and the resonator. It kept all the OEM stuff. It just made it a smaller muffler and a smaller resonator, so it's not raspy, it's not overwhelmingly loud, it's not obnoxious. You're not going to be waking up the neighbors. I mean, well, you might, but when the neighbors wake up, they won't be like, what the hell is that? No, they're going to be like, oh, that sounds like a nice car. Another positive to this downpipe is the performance gains, which this is what surprised me the most personally. I put it on and I expected to not really feel it, kind of just, you know, they claim whatever horsepower, and then I wouldn't really feel it, the butt dial wouldn't say anything. I put this on, and on my first drive, it was very noticeable. In particular, I noticed it when you're not in boost. I'd say about under 3,000 RPMs, not in boost. If you're just, it feels like you get a little more kick in the back now. Because these cars from factory just feel like they got nothing when you're not in boost. This really helps with that. And so it makes daily driving like way easier because you're not going 3 miles an hour when you're not trying to, I don't know, give it 10 PSI of boost. I hope that made sense. That made sense in my head, so, I mean, we'll see. Oh, back to the sound thing real quick. It actually unlocked a lot of little gurgles. So, I'd say if I'm about 1,500 RPM, so pretty low in the rev band, and I shift from first to second or second to third, it goes brr, 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 brr. It makes a really, really cool, like, gurgly, like, verbal noises, and I freaking love it. So that's another thing with sound. And back to performance. Yeah, so I really noticed it when you're about under 3,000 RPMs. And I also noticed it towards the top end. So 53 to 6,000 RPM, something like that, 5,300 to 6,000. It felt like it's pulling stronger for longer, if that makes any sense. It doesn't feel like it runs out of steam towards the top of the rev band. I think if you're putting this on, whether you want to do it for performance or sound or both, you'll be happy with it. Keep in mind, I am still on the stock tune, so I'm not getting everything I can out of these parts. I do plan on getting a K-tuner somewhat soon, in the near future, let's put it that way. I don't know if I want to get window tint or an intercooler first, but that's another video. The next good thing, I'm probably going to sound like a broken record because I say this about like every part I buy, but the fit and finish is phenomenal. It's super, super nice. It slid in real easy. It lined up perfectly with all the studs that it needed to go and all the holes where bolts needed to go. And the quality itself of all the welds and the colors and the materials used, they seem top notch. It's a very, very nice. So if you guys are curious, or if you guys are wondering, my full exhaust setup now is the MAPerformance catted downpipe. I didn't get the heat shielding. I guess the heat shielding mounts, I guess is what they're called. And I'm running the HKS high power catback. So I have everything swapped except my front pipe. So it's just stock front pipe, MAPerformance downpipe, HKS catback. That's the majority of the good. Overall, I am really enjoying the product. But with that being said, there are a couple downsides if you want to install this downpipe. First downside is going to be the install. And I know you'll be like, Kyle, didn't you say the install was part of the good? To an extent, yes. The install itself was fairly easy. The bad comes in when you break something. My car had about 50,000 miles on it when I tried to install it. So everything was super rusted, as, you know, heat does. In my case, it was very, very difficult, and I feel like I actually got pretty lucky only breaking one stud. That's it. I only I said, the install itself wasn't that hard. It's just the worry of breaking something, because I had a feeling that I was going to break something going into it, and I was really hoping I wouldn't, but I did. It is what it is. So be prepared when you're installing it to break a stud or a bolt. Alright, next bad thing about this downpipe is going to be the smell that it gives off. So, obviously I did get it catted, so it's not that bad, but it's definitely stronger. You definitely notice it. Even when I'm just sitting with my windows down, just at idle, just kind of chilling there, you can get whiffs of it. I have double checked. I don't have any exhaust leaks, so it's not exhaust leaking that I'm smelling, it's the burnt exhaust coming out the back. It just smells so much stronger that you'll notice it a lot more. Like I said, I'm sure some people actually do enjoy the smell, which, me personally, I enjoy it to an extent. I think it can get a little obnoxious at times, but it kind of smells more race car, so it's kind of cool. Next up on the list of bad is my check engine light. As I said, I'm still in factory tune, so I have my emission system light. What does it exactly say? Yeah, so every time I get in the car, my check engine light is always on, and it pops up this message that says emissions system problem. That's gonna happen. I can tune that out if I get a tuner, when I get a tuner, so it's really not that big of a deal, but it is kind of annoying to see that little orange amber colored light in the corner. My last big complaint with this downpipe is the fact that I can't retain the factory heat shielding, so my engine bay gets pretty friggin' hot. Again, this is my fault because I didn't option it in, but I also think it's kind of ridiculous that MAPerformance is charging extra money to retain factory brackets. Like, I understand and I get it, but I think to retain factory heat shield brackets shouldn't cost extra money. But hey, maybe that's just me. So that's about it with the downpipe. Overall, I'm really liking it. I think it was a great modification